All right, folks, this video I'm going to transfer my AMD AM5 Ryzen 7 9800X3D from the Gigabyte B850M DS3H to the Asus Prime X670-p Wi-Fi motherboard. Okay, there's a lot to that. So I've got an M.2 here. Who knows where my freaking screw is for it. First thing I'm going to do is just stick it in here to get it out of the way. And I say get it out of the way, but maybe it's going to get in the way. We need to find an M.2 screw, which they didn't give me any in the box because I bought this used, right? But we'll eventually get to that. Gotta take these fans off first. And to make life easier, I'm not going to disconnect the Y cable. So that's one less thing I gotta do. And we just release those springs. Over on this side, folks, and you shouldn't really hold your motherboard like I'm doing, is the Y cable. Boom, pop that off. All right, RAM. Let's go ahead and take this off. We're gonna need this over here. Now this motherboard has an issue with one of its RAM slots. Normally you would plug into A2, B2, but this case, what is it? Oops, sorry, A2 is dead. So I think B1 and B2 were my options. So I'm gonna, just to fire this thing up, we're just gonna stick one thing RAM in here. Okay, I'll come back and get that eventually. Okay, so I'm kind of excited about this. Now, why am I switching motherboards? This Gigabyte motherboard, very disappointing benchmark wise. I'm not getting the numbers gaming that I was expecting. You know, if this is such a awesome CPU to spend basically $500 and then find out it went on sale for $400 shortly after that, means I really want to make sure that I'm getting that this thing's functioning. Now, what's going to happen with this motherboard? That's a good question, folks. I am highly tempted to send it back because it sucks. But I don't know if we're going to do that. We'll see how this motherboard works out. I'm hooking up a power switch here. So on the front panel connectors, second row, third and fourth pins, because you guys probably can't see what I just did in this. So we will have two views. Right there is where I hooked it up, okay? Two views, and I'll hopefully have the link down below for both of them. Now hopefully lighting is okay for you guys. We could improve the lighting, I guess. Let's do that. And I'm going to clean I need to clean the top of the CPU off as well. I'm just going to use multiple paper towels, folks. There is specific cleaner and stuff you can use, but I don't think you need it. Somebody could disagree with me, and that's fine. I don't care, but all right. So I have this light here, which we could make it super blinding to me. I think if we increase we can increase the intensity. And it is magnetic, so it will stick to our thing. We're good there. All right, now we have light. Light is good. You know, to be honest with you, always a good idea to, get yourself new CPU paste. Could you potentially just use the CPU and the CPU cooler without cleaning that off. Yeah, but I don't think that's a good idea, all right? Especially with a CPU as good as this one. Your best bet, folks, is to start with a new, fresh amount. Plus, this gives you an idea. Hey, did it spread good? As usual, I do a pretty good job. It might not look like it in the video when I make it, when I put the stuff down there, but reality is that was pretty good. All right, now we can continue, folks. Let's get this side ready first, all right? Let's get this out of the way. And I did say I was going to find an M.2 screw at some point. There might be one. Yeah, there's one in the motherboard. How lucky is that? The only problem is we don't have a... I don't know if we have a small enough screwdriver to get that out. So these brackets, I'd throw them in the box in case you get a cooler that you need these things. And be extremely careful if you, the company you buy your motherboard for, let's say you bought it used like I did, be extremely careful you don't drop something in the CPU socket. Good idea to have a cover for that ahead of time. Let's see, we do have a electronics screwdriver, or partial electronic screwdriver. I know I'm doing multiple things here at one time, but trying to improve you guys' view. So if we get this M.2 out of the way, that might help a little. And of course, these screws have to be the world's most annoying screws, especially if you don't have a magnetic tip screwdriver. And of course, I'm going to drop this about 5 times during the course of this video. Easy to cross thread these, putting them in, just so you know. All right, so that's that. M.2's out of the way, thank God. Finally, something's going our way. Now let's see, on X670, is the backing plate is affixed to it? Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that like we would with Intel. It would be nice if they would have had the post go up high through that thing, like a Noctua backing plate. That would be so awesome. So, this video we're reusing the Peerless Assassin 140. That's a dual tower, dual 140 millimeter fans. It is quite capable of keeping this CPU cool. Whether it will keep it cool overclocked is another story. But reality is, do you need this thing overclocked? Most of you do not, right? This is going to be a huge improvement for most of you from that little Intel Celeron setup you had, or whatever crap you were using before this, right? I say that, I mean, I'm freaking spoiled. All the shit I've got here, all the i9s. This is the best AMD CPU by far that I have. So we're just going to transfer one to the other. I'm going to lift this guy up. I'm going to lift this guy up. I'm going to, wow, that's weird. I'm going to check this socket over here and just make sure it looks clean. I would say blow into it, but you might spit on it. All right, so we're going to transfer. Now I have these oriented the same exact way, okay? If I didn't, there's a triangle on, well, this isn't Intel, dang it. The triangle in the upper left, okay? They had to be different than Intel. So it is on there. Same over here. upper left, and then on the CPU, right? Intel, it's on the bottom left in this orientation. All right, so we're taking this over, gently dropping it in, folks, okay? And when I say gently, this is very important, all right? You'll hear me harping on this. I don't know how many motherboards I bought from people that they've wrecked, or actually when I used to resell my motherboards on eBay, how many times some idiot would wreck one of these because they just don't watch videos of how to do the installation. So it's in there, folks. It ain't moving nowhere. Unlike the Intel, when you start doing this, you'll feel it moving a little bit. In this case, it's not moving at all. We're going to drop the hammer down on that. Boom. It's good now. So I need to put this down, pop that back in. We need to protect this motherboard, which means finding the box that it came in. So that was a Gigabyte B850 DS3H. So I need to find the cover, put that away, make it nice and safe. And to be quite honest with you, I have no idea. This is so odd. Like, stuff just disappears around here, folks. I can't tell you how big a pain in the ass that is when you lose stuff. Okay. So, I should probably do a comparison video between these two. Alright, here's our plaque cover. It also has a triangle on it, upper left. We'll put that in here. And boom. This thing is ready to go back in the box, and wherever it might end up at after that is anybody's bet. I'm going to get it out of the way. So this was, actually a halfway decent motherboard. Does have BIOS flashback, which is nice. It was really just disappointing performance-wise. All right, now we can worry about this project and focus, folks. So, if you watch my other video, importance of orientation, knowing where your screws are on the bottom of this thing, all right? So we want it oriented like that, which means these guys, folks, have to come in specifically in that orientation. Now, the question is, if I was paying attention, do these come in like that, or do they come in the other way? That's the $8 million question. And that's a place I always forget. And of course, if you forget, you should look at the directions. But I'm pretty sure it goes this way. So, now how many of these installations have I done with AMD? About 1/10 of the amount of Intel ones, okay? Just so you know. Alright, so we're gonna try and get threads on both sides of this. And I'm hand tightening one. Honestly, for you, those of you out there that have not ever done this, 2 hands on your Phillips head. Okay? You don't want to drop this and break something. Obviously, whoever owned this did not take care of it like they should have. And so we'll stick this in here. Now, I will tell you, folks, this Peerless Assassin, it is a pretty darn good CPU cooler. Highly recommend it. It's actually my 2025 CPU cooler of the year. And look at, we're only 3 months into the year. All right, tightening that down. Now, of course, if you put this in backwards, you'll have to work backwards, reverse order, and flip these over. But what do I do at this point, folks? I'm going to set this on it and just make sure. Yep, we put it on right. So this thing's good to go. We need thermal paste though. They would have gave you a thing of TL7. This is some cheap shit here that I've got. Probably not the best stuff in the world for such an expensive CPU cooler. Or excuse me, such an expensive CPU. But it is what it is. Now I, on Intel CPUs, like to do a 5-dot method. So I do one with AMD, I do one bigger one and 4 small. If I can even get enough of this crap to come out. Wow. Alright, so there's enough paste on there to make this work. You don't want to have too little. It is a good idea to have enough. Should you mix paste? Probably not. Okay. So I need to order some thermal paste, otherwise I'm not going to be able to make these videos. I've got a whole lot of CPU coolers to install. So we're good there. Now we can drop this in, folks. And this is where one camera angle is not going to see much anything. I am trying to line these up. Probably will not have much luck the first try. Yeah. So you got to get one side, get a couple threads on it, and then you work your way to the other side. This is where it'd be nice if I had a GoPro. Okay, now I've got a couple threads on both sides. I'm going to just alternate. This is going to help spread the thermal paste evenly across the CPU. Now if you put too much thermal paste on it, it's going to go all over the side of the CPU and get into stuff. I don't think I've ever put too much on that it's caused issues. But it's always the potential that could happen. Alright. I think we're probably, with this camera angle, we need our light focused over here, and then just so you guys can see what's going on with that camera here. There we go. So I'm just cranking away. And because I've already done this installation, AM5, so if you want to see if maybe a little more patient version, I just want to get this thing fired up and see how well it's going to do on this motherboard. Okay, that's good to go. Alright, CPU cooler wise, some of you won't know this. Intake side, okay, exhaust, where the supports, the spindle, whatever, that's the exhaust side. We want cold air to go across here and out the back. So where the I/O is, that's back of your PC. The exhaust fans should all face the back, okay? So this guy, let's rotate ever so slightly. Now, should you pick up the motherboard by the CPU cooler? No. But the reality is, if that thing's secured on there good, it's probably not going to be a problem. All right, so that clips in both sides. Boom. Okay. And see, you will need to put your RAM in ahead of time before you put the cooler in. So if you bought this motherboard new and all your RAM slots are good and you know your RAM's good, you could go ahead and do that. Unfortunately for me, one of the RAM slots is bad. Potentially more, who knows. All right, once again, clip that in, boom, we're good. Except for we didn't plug our CPU cooler in, right? So on this motherboard, which one's which, folks? Should be the light gray, which is closer to the CPU cooler itself. Now I'm going to bring some more light in. Hopefully this doesn't ruin the picture, but I can't see what I'm doing. And this thing. So you will need to use cable ties after the fact. And we've got to be careful putting this in because you could wreck these pins. And that's in there good. All right. So thanks for checking out my video. Sales pitch. Make sure you like and subscribe. Secondly, folks, this is one of many videos related to the X670 I will have done. We will do the BIOS flashback button, or BIOS update using the flashback button, which I've done already. We'll do a regular BIOS update through the BIOS. We've got a macro view of this, go over the features. I've got an unboxing. I will also do a BIOS overview of it. And then we'll do a crap ton of gaming videos with this, and you guys can see the temps and all that other stuff. Thanks for checking out my video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.